Hey y'all, and welcome back to another video, Riverfront fam. Today we're going to put together some surprises for David. As you heard in the last video, he had recently undergone surgery, so I think we're going to surprise him with some fish. So pull up a seat and hang around with us. We're going to take a road trip up to David's and surprise him with one of his dream fish that he's been wanting for a while. Okay, so before we go up and visit David, there's a couple things we have to do first. We've got to get fish together for him. So I'm actually going to be taking him up some of the paradise fish that I bred, the betta fish, some Mbuna cichlids, and the surprise fish. Now, since you guys can keep a secret, I'll go ahead and tell you, but don't snitch. We got him a red-tailed catfish, and I think it's going to blow his mind, so hang around, you're not going to want to miss this one. But now I'm going to go ahead and bag the paradise fish that we're going to be taking up to David. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys my process for bagging fish. Some people's might be a little bit different, but on road trips and such, this is how I like to do it. I don't want to put too many in these bags because they're smaller bags, so I'm only going to put 3 in each bag. And that's going to be 1. And 3. Now you want to double bag fish when you're transporting them. I believe this helps round the corners of the bag and keep from having any damaged fins or just any risk of damaging any of these fish in transport. As you can see, once you get the other bag in there, it rounds the corners so you don't have any risk of injuring your fish when you're transporting them. Alright guys, so now that we've got everything bagged up, let's go ahead and get all these goodies out to David's. I'm going to haul everything in a tote. I would normally use a styrofoam box. Unfortunately, I do not have one right now, so my loss. We're going to start off with David's red-tailed catfish. Now I went ahead and triple bag this guy because catfish can tend to like to poke holes in bags. And we really do not want this guy poking a hole on the way up there, as it is a 2-hour car ride. Next, we've got some cobalt blue dragon scale half moons. This one is a male. We're gonna go ahead and keep him separate, and this should be for some of David's future breeding projects. Now I've also got 2 bags of Mbuna cichlids. These are the blue Mbuna cichlids, and I did them 3 in each bag. This is gonna help keep the ammonia cut down in the bag on the car ride up, and just make sure that these guys arrive to their destination a little safer. We've also got 3 half moon mix betta females that we bred here as well that we're going to be taking up to him. And hopefully these guys will pair off well with one of these other males that we're taking him. Now, I think this is the creme de la creme, to be honest. You can say what you want, but paradise fish. I'm taking up 6 of these. There's a mix of males and females in here. So hopefully he will be able to get a spawning pair out of these, and they will do well in the future for him. I had originally gotten these paradise fish from David to begin with, and I went ahead and raised them up when they were about this age and paired them off and spawned them. So now I get to send him back some. Now this one's really pretty. This is a powder blue half moon male, and this guy's already been building bubble nests, so he should be ready to rock and roll. And that's if he decides to use him as a breeder or a show fish. Next up, I wanted to take David some least killifish. I've got the red dorsal fin variety. Being that these guys were breeding out in my guppy tank, it was impossible to catch them without netting a few guppies. So he has some mystery guppies in here that he'll be able to grow out in his planted tank and have a nice little surprise down the road when their colors come in. We're also going to be taking him some plants. He asked if I could bring him some hornwort. This is a great plant to use for cover for your fry when you're breeding things out. I highly recommend getting it, especially if you're doing like guppy breeding setups. Throw a bunch of this in there. It gives the fry plenty of places to hide. Now, I had recently gotten my hand on some Christmas moss, so I'm going to be sending him some of this to try out. We've both been messing around with Java moss, but I think it'd be nice to try some different types. Last plant we've got to take to him is some Rotala. I had sent him some of this in the past, and I believe he was just wanting some for some other tanks that he's going to be setting up. So we're going to go ahead and hook him up with some since we've got ample amounts of it. The last and final thing that I'm going to be taking up, these are vinegar eel cultures. Now, if you're not familiar with vinegar eels, these are a great beginner fry food for like newly hatched betta fish, paradise fish. You can feed them to newly hatched angelfish. Just about anything with an extremely tiny mouth that can't take most foods are going to be able to take vinegar eels. We're going to go ahead and get these up to him as well. That way he's got these in his arsenal for breeding fish in the future in his fish room. Now I reckon we better get everything on the road and get it on up to David. So you guys hang tight with us, Riverfront fam. Let's get everything on up to him and see what he thinks. Alright guys, so we finally made it up to David's. I'm not gonna shuck you guys along anymore. We're gonna get right into it, and it's a good thing he got this tank set up because he's gonna need it. So I'm gonna flip the camera around for you guys and let him do, well, we would do an unboxing, but this is kind of an untoting, if you will. So we're gonna pass it along to David and let him do this untoting for you guys. Okay, so before we get into this, isn't this tablecloth just so nice? You gotta love Halloween. Anyhow, I know we're all curious to see what's in the tote. What you got there, Sonny?
Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and start here. Looks like some vinegar eel cultures.
2 of them very ready to go.
I like your bagging on this one.
Yeah, so because that one's in a water bottle, I did not trust it not leak. And you, if any of you have ever smelled vinegar eels, you really don't want to smell those when they come open.
Alright. Some Christmas moss.
That's gonna look really nice in the planted tank, I think. Maybe tied to some driftwood.
Oh yeah, I got some driftwood in there I could go on. Some Rotala.
Gotta love that.
Oh yeah.
All the plants.
Oh, some lovely hornwort for some breeding.
Yes, sir.
You gave me snails. How dare you?
You can always have the snails. The puffer will eat them.
Oh, I know. Alright, least killifish and the mystery guppy.
Yeah, so the least killifish, it was like impossible to catch them without catching guppies. So there are some baby guppies in there that are mystery guppies that you'll have to wait for them to grow out and see what comes of it.
Alright, 3 paradise fish. Some of the ones that he bred off the ones that I gave to him.
Yeah, see, that's the great thing about breeding your own fish, guys, is if, say you get some fish from a friend that's bred them out, if they lose their originals, you can always breed them back out and get them right back into the hands of them.
Powder blue half moon betta. I believe it's a male, right?
Yes, sir. This is a really nice betta.
Not very colored up right now. It's stressed, but once he gets colored up.
It's like Christmas Day up in here.
3 baby blue mbunas. I don't mind growing those up and breeding them out. Oh, 3 half moon mixed betta females.
Yeah, these guys will go well. So I went ahead and bagged all 3 of the females together because you don't really have to worry about those trying to
Kill each other?
Yeah, annihilate each other in the bag.
Alright, 3 more Mbunas. Looks like one pierced the bag because there's some water in there.
That's alright. That's why we double bag them.
Yeah, it's alright. It's not too bad of a leak. Cobalt Blue Dragon Scale Male Beta.
Now this guy we should be really excited to breed. And these guys are actually sexual maturity right now, so they should spawn pretty quickly.
Alright, 3 more Paradise Fish.
Gotta have those. That'll give you a shoal of 6 to start with. And
like
hopefully they'll pair off.
Except for that one is a male.
Yeah, it's a nice male too.
Alright.
So there's the surprise fish.
Okay.
As I said, good thing we have the Riverfront Aquatics tank set up because we are going to need that for that, and we are actually going to do what kind of acclimation with this?
Drip acclimation.
And we do the drip acclimation because this is not only going to help it adjust to the temperature of the water in that tank, but it will also allow it to adjust to the water parameters that it's going to be going into. This will give us the best shot at keeping it from being shocked.
Alright.
Should we do the drum roll?
No.
Now, this is a fish that I know David's going to go buck wild over, and I think you guys are too. And I think you guys know what it is. Well, you know what it is, but don't snitch.
A red tail?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Good sized red-tailed cat.
Doesn't have that body deformity.
Nope. He's nice and healthy. So we got this guy in trade from Gerber's Tropical Fish. If any of you know, with me breeding stuff lately, I've been doing a little wheeling and dealing, and we'll say a guy got his hands on a red tail, and a good friend would love to have another red tail. So we made that happen.
I don't know if I ever showed it on the channel, but I had one. She was about this big, and she used to be in that tank. And when we got them from Aquashella, you guys know if Jesse's passed away. Mine had a body deformity in its tail, with the tail crooked like this, and it arched. And I thought it was just a deformity or something that she would grow out of. Well, ends up something, if a red tail ends up having it, they can die. And she ended up ultimately passing away, and I shut down that tank and didn't know what to do with it until he had told me he had something for me that I should get it ready. So I got it cleaned out, got it ready, and well, what do you know? Something to replace her.
I'll say this tank is looking good. I'd say it's going to make a great home. Good grow out tank for the red tail at the size it is currently. Should live a successful, happy life in here until it gets moved into the monster pond, which you've got a channel cat in there right now, right?
Yeah, it's about a 2-foot channel cat.
So we'll grow this guy up, get him to size where that channel cat's not going to make a $60 snack out of a red-tailed catfish. I say we need to go ahead and get this guy drip acclimating so we can get him into his home.
Yeah, he's getting a little feisty in the bag.
Yeah. So I actually triple bagged this bag, and if any of you have ever bagged catfish at any point in your fish keeping hobby career, these guys like to poke holes in bags. Their pectoral fins are like needles, and they will throw one into a bag and be sitting in a dry bag with the quickness. So we took some precautions on that. I would just rip them bags. They're Pet Supplies Plus bags. They can afford to lose a couple.
I can't get through the first bag to the other ones. Now I can. I tried. I tried. Alright.
Yeah, and this guy, I've been watching over him for a couple weeks, and he is really, really healthy. He's been eating good. I did fast him overnight last night, so he hasn't had any food in probably the last 48 hours. And this is just to keep him from getting sick in transport.
Hi, buddy. Alright, so I'm going to take the end of this. I mean, you can buy the drip acclimation kits from a pet store, but when you don't have that kind of money and you have stuff at home, you make one. So I'm going to put the tube into the water. I'm going to tie it down so that way it doesn't come out when it's there. And I'm going to do the most unfun part that everyone hates. Go ahead and get it in there. And then I'll slowly just turn the valve to a point that's a slow and steady stream enough. Just about there to go ahead and acclimate them.
Alright guys, so we're going to let this guy drip acclimate for about a half hour. The rest of these guys, we're going to get them floated in their tanks. And I'm gonna pick you guys back up when we go to put this beautiful, beautiful red tail into the 55 Riverfront Aquatics tank. Alright guys, well, the time has come to finally get this red tail into the Riverfront Aquatics tank. So I'm going to flip it around and David's going to do the honors of getting his new red tail catfish into this tank.
I would use a net, but I'm not trying to stress it out, so we're going to go old school with my hands. Come here. Come on. Oh, you're going to play. You're going to play me. Oh, God.
Okay, now this little guy is actually going to get fed later on tonight. Like I had said earlier, I haven't fed him in probably the last 48 hours, just so that he didn't get sick while we were bringing him up here. So we're probably going to flip off this light and give him a little bit to adjust to this tank and get settled into his new home. Already getting active as soon as the light goes out.
Alright, if you guys like this video, make sure to check out some other content of ours. You can go to our page and look up some other videos that we have. If you guys haven't already, go ahead and like this video. And make sure you subscribe, you're not going to want to miss anything. So check out for future videos, and we appreciate you guys watching. Until next time,
Peace
out.